Namaste. It's a wonderful question, subject to speak upon sleep. And, Shakespeare has at one point has said, sleep that knits the raveled sleeve of care. So it works the other way around also. And that is that people sleep with a heavy head and all that. When they wake up, they are reasonably okay. This is the more common experience because that day's agony goes away and you wake up with a new day and fresh day. So this one. But at the same time, it is equally true that if you have a very fine aspiration in the daytime, you felt charged, you felt, surrendered, and then you sleep. And then you lose that also, both aspects. So basically, what is sleep? Sleep is the domain through which we pass. We don't know where we pass. And why do we lose? So sleep is a domain, if we use the technical word, it's a domain where we are not conscious. So that's why we don't know what happens during sleep. I'm talking of ordinarily. So every day, nature makes us pass through a domain of not unconsciousness the way we understand, but domains where we are not conscious. So from the waking surface personality in which we are living, we enter into a state which is described in the Upanishad as the dream state. So in the dream state, we enter into subtle realms, but we don't remember anything because we are not conscious in those domains. Like you go in a train and you sleep off. Night may you got into the train and you slept. In the morning you reach somewhere. So people ask that how was the journey? You have no account of it because you have not remembered anything. You were sleeping. So during this phase, many things happen. And one of those things are that things which we have held, suppressed during the day. Suppressed realities, suppressed transactions, wishes, fancies, imaginations, even certain material experiences. You had a heavy stomach, but that time it didn't register so much because in the waking surface we are only conscious of very little. So all this which was held within begins to rise. So ordinarily in the waking consciousness, the rational mind is putting barriers. You feel something, but rational mind puts a barrier. It's a cloak, very habitually, it's something spontaneous. But in sleep, all this wakes up. And it reveals itself through dream language. Now, dream language is a vast subject. Maybe one day I'll take it. It's a very wonderful subject. Because dream language is different from the waking language. Waking language is the language of the mind. So our mind has formed certain words. Like, for instance, we use the word aspiration. It communicates some meaning to someone, those who aspire. To others, it may look synonymous with desire. What is the difference between desire and aspiration? It's different when those who know not the meaning but the experience. Now, in a dream, if you have to see desire, nobody is there to speak to us. So the language has taken a different form. Now you may see a mountain, and you're climbing on a mountain. So what does climbing on a mountain mean? Aspiration in the physical. See, mountains are what? High points of the physical earth. So your climbing on a mountain means the physical consciousness is aspiring. Wonderful. You see rain and you are drenched in a rain. So it's not rain the way we understand, but rain is always some purifying energy. At its highest, it is grace. But any purifying force, because what does the rain do outside? It cleanses us. So it's a purifying force which has come in the sleep phase. You see fire, if you see an elephant. So again, elephants are what? Huge. They always indicate prosperity and strength of a certain kind. You see a lion. A lion is the protective power. See, quiet power. Generally, lions are very divine powers. But tigers, stealth, very different from lion. Huh? They are cats. They don't belong to the real. Lion is a different family. Cats, they are stealthy. You don't know when they will pounce upon you. And very powerful, they also, very strong. So when you see a tiger, it represents passion. So in our mythology, we have stories that some yogi sitting on a tiger means he has mastered his passions. But sitting on a lion is a different story altogether. We know Durga's lion. So everything that we see in the dream, like journey, traveling. So traveling is that we are advancing. Now, how we are advancing in the waking day, many things happen, it didn't register to us. In the dream state, they will come and show us that suddenly the road is blocked, we are cycling, we are turning, we are looking for the way, nobody is able to tell the way, or the road is ill-lit, dark. Sometimes you reach the way, sometimes you enter into mud pools, or you are going on aircraft and suddenly it crashes, or the pilot steers it safe while it is going to crash through a clouded sky. All these are clear symbols and not difficult to understand the symbol. You see somebody dead who was deeply connected to you. So this is your past, either an association with a particular person or that past. For instance, we carry tendencies from the parents. So to see the parents die usually indicate that atavistic tendencies have gone. So very nice thing. Falling of teeth, some elements of the inconscient have fallen. Falling of hairs, very good in dreams, very bad in the waking life. It depends on how you look at it. Losing your chappals, nice inconscient burden. So it's a whole world. Then when we pass through this world of dreams, which is a vast subject, some dreams are directly related to our physical consciousness. People eat chicken, then in the dream they see those jumping, all kinds of things jumping inside around them. Sometimes they've engaged in very, harmful, spiritually harmful activities, violent form of sexuality. Then they'll see all kinds of these mosquito type of creatures, no? Those, what are they called? Mosquitoes actually, like that. They'll see in the dream. Because they are elemental energies which you can see around people who are engaging in all kinds of perverse sexuality. So you'll see, actually you can see, Maurice Megar used to have the vision and told mother about it. She said it's very, very true. But in the dream you will actually see them as, all around. I don't know how to escape because they are elemental energies. They are trying to take grip on the consciousness. You can see a serpent which can represent two things. Dark serpent, usually a hostile force attacking. Or little mohawk serpent, but nevertheless attacking. So they are like energies which are taking advantage of sentiments or emotions, but nevertheless they are attacking you. Or sometimes iridescent serpent or a white serpent. That's an evolutionary energy. Cobras may represent an evolutionary energy. But black serpents like mamba is a different thing altogether. So pigeons will represent one thing, peacock, birds, powers of the soul, flowers, again energies of the soul, duck, actually the soul, flame, child represents the soul or a new birth. So when you put them together, it's a language. So it helps us to become conscious in the world of dreams. How to become conscious? Very simply, by yoga, the consciousness begins to extend in domains. Automatically it will happen. The mother, of course, speaks of when you wake up, try to gently, don't jump. Stay quiet and you will start catching a trail and using that trail you go behind. It takes a long effort. Very few people can really sustain it. To go back from the tail of the dream which you have seen to the tip and then another dream trail, because there are many things which have happened. Some dreams you'll remember, which just sometimes they are premonitory dreams. Consciousness projects into the future because consciousness is freed from the waking conscious surface. So in the surface, waking consciousness, we know only what is happening around. But the subliminal is not bound like that. In the dream, the subliminal consciousness can go into the future and see something. So there is that story where the mother says that somebody who saw that, he is reading a comic book and in that comic book, there is a character, he is at the lift. He is suddenly showing him to enter a coffin. But the man wakes up. Oh my God. And then as he gets ready and goes to the lift, the same character he sees as a lift man opens the door and asks him to come in. Now he suddenly remembered the dream he had. So he I'll take the stairs. So he takes the stair and the lift crashes. And he's saved. So there are premonitory dreams. I know a number of premonitory dreams. I myself had, and a lot of people I know, but that's a past subject. Now through this world of dream, we enter into the third stage. So this is the Chatushpad Brahman. No? We enter into sleep. Sushupti. What happens during Sushupti? Deep sleep. Even scientifically, we speak about the waking and then the REM sleep, which is the dream sleep, and then the non REM sleep, which is the dreamless sleep, the last. So, there the consciousness enters still deeper. And the mother says that during that moment, it touches that core Satchidanand within us. Few moments. In 8 hours, few moments. But those few moments are the one which make us fresh and we come back rejuvenated. There is something higher. Upanishad speaks about Turiya, that people can't enter into sleep just like that. So at least these 3 things we experience. Now, if we are caught up in anxiety, agitation, either in our thoughts or feelings or watching a very excited TV program, then what happens? Consciousness doesn't get sufficient strength to go inside. It is caught on the surface. So the same machine or the picture continues in the dream. That's not healthy. Why? Because then it is just moving in a whirlpool. It's like we have put the mind and vital into a whirlpool. And it just keeps moving mechanically, like a ghost who is moving around a small little experience of life. So then if we have slept in that state, we don't wake up fresh. On the contrary, we feel drained. Sometimes in dreams, even without this, we may encounter entities which are very harmful. See, most of these attacks, heart attack, for instance, stroke, illnesses, you'll see people they'll say, I woke up with a cough, I woke up with a nausea, I woke up and I had a stroke, I woke up with a chest pain. Why? Because night is a time when these forces of darkness are extremely active. The Nishachari Shakti. The Asuric Maya is at its bestest best. That's what the story of Ghatotkach is, no? Because at night, they are at the ascendancy. That's why to ask for protection of the mother before we sleep. So each one has his own method. One method the mother recommends is, my child, you should imagine that you are wrapped in a cocoon of my white light. And then pray for protection, pray for her grace, her peace. Put a little blessing packet below the pillow, or Savitri by your side, a mother's picture. I mean, each one to his own. And then if you get into this habit, then you are protected during that phase. Either you will wake up just when something is about to happen, and suddenly you will become aware that, this could have happened, and you offer it and you're fine. Or she will just take away that problem. So we must sleep. Before sleep, if we can meditate a little, best. Or else the other is that imagine that the mother's white light is surrounding us as a cocoon. Take mother's name and sleep. Now this is ideal condition. In real life, many times it doesn't work out. So I have my shortcut formula. So over years, I have developed my own shortcut. I used to do all this, but then subsequently it was like, okay, now when I go, sometimes you're working little late in the night and your eyes are a bit tired and you have to also complete that work. There's a mail to be replied, there's something to be done, and you can't, and work is also important, but by the time you are sleeping, your eyes are feeling heavy, so it's difficult to keep staying awake. So what I do is I put my head on the pillow, and I immediately that it's in mother's lap. I take that this pillow is mother's lap. In a white sari she is sitting, and I am in the mother's lap. And then sometimes I just drift ma, thinking that she is in my heart, or sometimes thinking that she is all around. I drift to sleep. So these are ways and means that each one has to discover oneself. But don't go to sleep after a very agitated, animated discussion, or very excited activity, or watching, I don't know what kind of TV programs. I'm not saying watch or not watch. That depends on, stage of development. But if you have done something, well, sometimes it can happen that you have had an animated discussion. So what do you do after that? Don't go to sleep immediately. Best is if you resolve it before you sleep, but always it may not be possible. Offer it thoroughly. Ma, this is what happened. As much as your exhausted self is capable of doing it, because discussions, debates do sap our energy. And keep offering to her, and then sleep in her lap. So this is the way to sleep ideally. And then as the consciousness grows, you'll automatically begin to remember the dreams. Because now consciousness has begun to extend into the domains where we were not conscious. And we may even come back with certain visions, experiences, contact with higher beings, higher realities. All that is possible. Even poetry may come, which you may or may not catch when you wake up. So, but it comes automatically most of the time if we have really pursuing the inner life steadily. When we know how to step back and withdraw the consciousness from the surface, then we begin to become aware of an inner life. And then it becomes very easy because through the subliminal we extend into, we can also sometimes understand other people's movements, what's going on inside them, the dangers, the difficulties, all that is going on. And it's good to be cautioned. It helps you, even if you have to intervene, you can even intervene in the dream, change the course of things. So, whole world of wonderful possibilities. So, grow in consciousness by connecting more and more to the mother. Learn to live within so that we become conscious of what's happening within. And that is how we become conscious of the world of sleep and dreams. A very vast subject. But this is what it is in a nutshell. Okay. Namaste. So the question is that in a dream space or dream time when we are not conscious, is that an impediment to the sadhana? I'll put it the other way around, that if we are conscious of the dream, it helps the sadhana. It makes us aware of the inner movement and helps us to see it a little more correctly if we understand the symbolic nature. Sometimes it can confuse the person. If you don't understand the dream symbol, people come back saying, often they even write to me, I saw this and they have seen something good actually, but they feel it's the other way around. Sometimes they see things which are very clearly going to have a very... I've seen people actually see their death in a dream, which is real, going to happen, not seeing oneself die, which is a different thing altogether. I don't know what to tell because, the other person has seen something nice like a clock with both the hands struck at a certain, figure, and it's all around is jasmine and pink glow, which looks very beautiful, but it was an indication from the soul of what's going to happen after 6.5 months, and that's how it happened. So it's helpful if we become conscious. If we are not conscious, is it an impediment? Yes, to an extent. Any unconsciousness is an impediment. Unconsciousness is the grand door through which falsehood and all kinds of things enter. And it doesn't come in a day. That's why when Mother was asked, what do we do to prepare ourselves for yoga? She says, become conscious. And most of the times, become conscious of the motives of our actions. This is the secret spy working inside. It's opening the doors. So mind is justifying, giving all kinds of reasons, but there is another thing which is inside, which is operating. So she says, become conscious. And it's so true. But even before we can become conscious in sleep, we should become conscious during waking hours. We think we are conscious, but actually most of the time we are not conscious. Many movements are done very, unconsciously. By that I mean two kinds of unconsciousness. One is where we really speak mechanically in a reactive way. We respond habitually and we take it that this what is there. The second unconsciousness is where we have covered the real thing with all kinds of justifications. So we should become conscious. The more we become conscious during waking, we'll begin to become conscious during sleep. And of course, if we are not conscious during sleep, as I said, subtly we open doors to energies which are of a dark nature. And that's why before we can become conscious during sleep, let us sleep remembering the mother, calling her name, surrounding ourselves with a white light, especially when we have had a very bad day or we are sleeping in a very state of, dangerous state sometimes. So what I do is, not only for myself, but supposing it's been a very animated interaction with someone, let's say for example, so somebody got very angry with you. So you should pray even for that person because you are one unit. It's not just about oneself. So it helps to, and pray for a piece of power of peace and harmony around you, because all illness is disharmony. So it's a strong energy of disorder and disharmony which has entered into our atmosphere. So when if we sleep with that, it will continue to act. And energy of disorder and disharmony will bring chaos. So to pray for peace and harmony within, around, because even if you have, let us say, slept with asking for protection, but the other person is continuing to release bad will. So, so you should also pray for the other person's peace and harmony. So these are things which we must do. Otherwise, unconsciousness is definitely frightening, if you ask me.
So what I was asking also is that the trail that you were
Yeah,
mentioning,
yeah.
you heard the mother's talk,
Yeah.
that seems to be very challenging.
Very challenging. That's why I was saying that it's very challenging. So also because of many things. See, time constraints are there in real time. Real. So yoga is in real time. That's why I was saying, while it is good if you remember a dream, as the consciousness grows, you will remember a dream. Then try as far as you can go into the trail. But ultimately, with the complete emergence of consciousness, to an extent, at least most of the major issues one will be able to catch. But to practice that way, as Mother has said, is indeed very challenging. That's true. So only somebody at some point of time you can try it, maybe on a holiday. I don't know. It's very difficult to do that in modern time. Yeah.
I mean, I find that if you wake up more, many times, then it's easier to remember more.
That's true. So this is a very good question. So it's about slicing the sleep. So ideally, from the yogic perspective, it's good if sleep is sliced. You can't do it mechanically. But supposing you wake up 2 or 3 times at night, some people think, oh, I have to wake up. I tell them that there's nothing bad about it. So waking up, of course, they wake up for different reasons. People have, prostate problem and all that. But nevertheless, if you wake up 2, 3 times, it is helpful because it suddenly makes you conscious and you also remember the dream. But that apart, it's good to have sleep slices. Maybe average person will require 7 hours of sleep. Sure, in those words. So let's take it that we are not. People try to unnaturally. I am trying to sleep 5 hours. Don't do anything unnatural. Shivinda, in fact, has said this, emphasized. You must take sufficient sleep, sufficient food. Don't try. We are not here to prove something to someone. That also becomes a ego. I sleep only 5 hours. No big deal. There are people who don't sleep at all. They are insomniacs, not yogis. So that's not the issue. The issue is that, well, on an average, if one needs 7 hours of sleep, let's say 6 hours, 6 to 7 hours. Some people need more, some people need little less, but average is 6 to 9 hours for most human beings. Slice it. It's good if, say, 7 hours, one wakes up after 4 hours. Then again after 2 hours. And then there is a last bit of nap for half an hour, something. It is helpful. So I always recommend some people, they wake up. Now they feel like going to the bathroom. They are not going because they are thinking, "Abhi time nahi hua hai, let me wake up." Go, release and come back. It's much better. You will probably have another round of sleep, and nothing wrong with that. It's helpful. Rather than waiting. Let me see. Let the light come. And of course, it's not good to wake up with alarm. That's another thing. But I've seen that. If you train the mind, that's very easy actually. That's not difficult. The mind has its own, the brain has its own biological clock. And it's not difficult to wake up. You can put an alarm just to make sure, but invariably almost after some time, the mind becomes habituated and you will wake up just a few minutes before the alarm goes off. So that's okay. So alarm is like a standby, not the main thing. I'm again speaking of the real time, actual issues that arise in real life. Though it's never good to wake up with alarm, because it startles you. Sometimes you can lose trails of consciousness, but always you cannot possibly avoid it. It's like many things have become part of life. So we have to find the way, navigate through all that. So while put an alarm, but mentally also keep it in mind. And then you'll see that after a while you wake up regularly at a given point of time. Just a question of mind training.
And after morning meditation, actually, one takes a nap very early, then those dreams seem to be even more remembered.
Yes.
This is what I've
morning meditation followed by morning meditation, if you take a nap, yes, the dream, because it's not really a sleep in the technical sense, it is a kind of a trance. It's a dream trance which people have. Even during meditation, people go into that state. If one can enter, it's wonderful. Yes.